is Teresa Pandolfo. I am an elementary and middle school Spanish teacher at William Hall Academy, and my innovation is for Programa Amigos. What exactly is Programa Amigos? Well, it is an extracurricular program to improve Hispanic academic achievement and to promote cross-cultural collaboration within the county. After my brief introduction, I'll go right into my problem definition, and then my recommended approach and actions, and finish up with the implementation logistics right before my conclusion and questions. So I come to you tonight with a story of a student named Kennedy, and he is a 5th grade student. He moved here from El Salvador in October. Kennedy currently receives half an hour once or twice a week of ESOL instruction, and though he moved here in October and it's now April, he still has trouble completing his schoolwork, speaking in English, or even at the basic level, interacting with peers. And one day, Kennedy and I were talking, and he said to me, "Yo quiero aprender, pero no puedo." I want to learn, but I can't. And that really got me thinking. I figured Kennedy couldn't be the only student with this problem. And research shows that I'm correct. Here I have a graph of the moving upwards in grade level, MSA and then HSA performance levels of all students in Prince George's County. The green is the percentage of students in Prince George's County that are passing. The blue is the percentage of Hispanic students that are passing. And the orange at the bottom is limited English proficient students and their percentage of passing these standardized testing, specifically in literacy. You can tell not only is there an extreme gap in between the overall performance and Hispanic and limited English proficient performance, but also that gap widens as we go up in grade level. This is a problem that increases as the student ages. Limited English proficient students I've included because 85% of those students are native Spanish speakers in Prince George's County. What this all means is that the first symptom is that below grade level literacy negatively affects academic achievement in not only English classes, but in all academic subject areas. Continuing in my research, the second symptom I noticed was the average dropout rates in Prince George's County. As you can see by the bar graph, the Hispanic dropout rate is nearly double the average dropout rate for all students in the county. And not only that, but it's the highest percentage of all of the subgroups that are considered. There are many reasons that this could be true. However, one of them that I see in my classroom every day is that the difficulties of these students assimilating and associating with peers can directly impact their attitude towards learning and thus their desire to continue learning as they progress. The third symptom I noticed is that there is limited parental involvement and communication. This is due mainly to the language barrier, of course, because many of these parents are Spanish speaking. And this problem is increasing rapidly over time with the changing population and demographics of Prince George's County. In the past 10 years alone, the Hispanic population in Prince George's County has more than doubled. This all means that the greatest problem here is that there's a widening gap of academic achievement among an increasing Hispanic population of students in Prince George's County, a population that is currently roughly 25,000 and growing exponentially every year. So how can we change this? Well, there are several different ways that we can change each of these symptoms. However, in terms of the below grade level literacy, the most efficient way to impact that would be to increase the academic and linguistic support of these students. In terms of the socio-emotional struggles that can lead to dropout or a lack of association or assimilation into the culture, multicultural programming to promote cross-cultural integration and acceptance would be a really great way to improve on this. And finally, in terms of limited parental involvement and communication, if we directly attack the issue of the language barrier by providing parents with an opportunity to have English language instruction through the county, this would automatically increase parental communication and therefore parental involvement. What this means is that putting it all together, we need programming that addresses both the linguistic and the cultural symptoms of the Hispanic achievement gap in the county, and that this program should promote awareness and academic success both with our students and our parents. I surveyed some parents at my school. 89% of Hispanic parents said that they would be very interested in English classes because they don't feel comfortable with their current English proficiency, and it impacts how they can discuss their student achievement with teachers. In addition, a significant amount of both Hispanic and non-Hispanic parents said that they would be very interested in a parent organization that promoted and taught achieving milestones by increasing goal-orienting skills. This is a two-part program. There's both a student sector and a parent sector. But again, this is an extracurricular program that for Hispanic students and all interested parent, staff, and students who would like to be a part of aiding in the success of Hispanic students and parents throughout the county. In terms of the student sector, it has two parts. The first part would be primarily academic assistance. And Hispanic students would work with both bilingual and monolingual teachers and students, peers, in order to aid their language learning and their academic progress. This would range from direct language instruction with teachers to homework help with both bilingual and monolingual peers. And this would roughly be 2 to 3 hours a week of the programming, the after-school programming. The multicultural programming would include not only team building of Hispanic and non-Hispanic students, but also a discussion and comparison of Hispanic and American cultures. And this would be about roughly 1 hour per week of the program. The parent sector is set up very similarly to the student sector, in that there is a more academic piece and a more multicultural piece. In terms of academics, that would be direct English language instruction from the teachers at the school. So the same teachers that are teaching their students during the day would be teaching them English at night. This could be bilingual teachers, Spanish teachers, ESOL teachers, or monolingual teachers who are interested in helping them. And this would be 1 to 2 hours a week. In addition, there would be multicultural programming, which is very similar, again, team building and discussing comparison of cultures and issues of assimilation. And this sector would be about 1 hour a month of the parent sector of the program. So what exactly would this take? The program would be mainly voluntary. It would be available to Hispanic and non-Hispanic students, parents, and staff who are committed and interested in helping the growing Hispanic population in Prince George's County achieve the highest level of success possible. Because this is all voluntary, that means there's not necessarily any required funding. And in terms of the timeline, beginning in the summer of 2010, we could determine the pilot schools that would actually be participating in this program in its first year, and the program would be developed by teachers over the summer. Moving into the fall, we would inform students and parents of the program, hold interest meetings, and then in the winter begin the actual classes and programs. In the summer and then in the fall of the following year, we would use parent surveys and data to discuss how we can make this program better and what schools we can expand it to in the upcoming years in the county. In terms of how will it work? How do we know if it works? Quantitatively, we can look at the standardized test scores, and ideally we would see those bars closing as the years go on. There wouldn't be such a high level of gap between the average passing students and Hispanic students. In addition, participant numbers and survey data from the parents and the students who are participating. Qualitatively, we would see a change in more positive class culture that would start in the program and then go back into the schools. And there would be an increased parental involvement and communication, not only with the Hispanic parents, but with all parents, with their teachers, and also amongst one another to problem solve and discuss ways that they can improve the academic success of their students. So how do I personally know it will work? I know because of Kennedy. 1 month ago, he asked me to help him. In 1 month, I have worked with teachers, administration, and peers, bilingual and monolingual, during school, after school. In the first week that I worked with Kennedy, he learned 50 words in English. In the second week that I worked with him, he scored 100% on his reading vocabulary quiz without my assistance. In the third week that I worked with Kennedy, he read an entire page of a story in English to his entire class. It was the first time all year he spoke to his classmates out loud and participated in class in English. And when he finished, they all stood up without the teacher saying anything and gave him a huge round of applause and screamed and hollered at how fabulously he had read. And just last week, I arrived a little bit later than usual to his reading class, and I was nervous because I knew that he was taking a test that day on cause and effect. By the time I got there, not only had he finished with the test, but he had corrected it himself, gotten 100%, and handed it to me and said, in English, "I am finished, Ms. Pandolfo, and I understand." If those kinds of changes can be made with one student in 1 month, just imagine what Programa Amigos could do for all of our Hispanic students throughout the county. Thank you. work with, clearly wasn't enough for Kennedy. There are several ways that it's different. I push into his reading class, so I actually stay with him while he's reading. I have a whiteboard, and I write words that he's not sure of. We have a signal. If he doesn't know what's going on, I write it in Spanish and in English. I'm able to do the work with him in both languages to assure not only that he's learning the language, but that he's understanding the content. I've worked with him in science, social studies, math, English, on the work that he's already given to make sure that he stays on task and on par with his other classmates. Because what was happening was he was turning in all of his assignments in all of his classes blank, or not turning them in at all.
So how many candidates could you handle in one reading period?
So I think that although that approach would probably be most beneficial on a one-on-one basis, that's why in my proposal I've said that this would involve teachers, peers, and the students themselves. That way there's a network of several people working together in both languages in order to assist as many students as possible.
But the counter argument is that you're an educator. You understand the standards. You were specific in how you provided Kennedy from a standards point of view, but you saw incredible growth. In your model of volunteers, you would not have that expertise.
Right. So I actually wanted to test this theory for myself, and what I did was one day I brought in a monolingual English-speaking student from his class, and I sat there and I didn't say a word. And she had the science assignment in front of her, and he had the science assignment in front of him. And he can understand a lot more than he can speak, but through the use of the book, through visuals, through gestures, they were able, given the time and the space, to negotiate the language and complete the assignment together without me saying a word in Spanish.